Okay, so this is my family. My mom, my dad, my brother, and me. And to me, my family represents a time of love, a love that was different from any love I'd ever felt before. This was a love that came with childhood, a love of loving everything just because it simply was. Most people do experience this type of love in their lives, mostly during their childhood, but people don't often associate this love with family because family is like a constant that exists throughout your entire lives. But about 6 years ago, there was a separation in my family, and I was thrown into a world of living in two houses, loving two separate people, and the biggest loss I'd ever felt. So my family was gone, and although I had the pieces, I didn't have that unit, the unit that I found so much love and comfort in. I felt a loss so large that it made the love that comes with being a child go away. It was replaced by independence and knowledge and responsibility and things that I wasn't yet ready for. So every human needs other humans. We all take in so much of the world every day, which can be so difficult to do. We create relationships to find a place to put all of that time, emotion, and weight. It doesn't matter if it's a friend, a parent, a partner, or a spouse. Every relationship carries weight, and every relationship is important. This is part of the beauty of being human. A marriage is maybe one of the strongest of these bonds. It holds so much weight just from devotion and love alone. A marriage is supposed to be you devoting your life to someone. But the thing about creating relationships is that if one ends, all of the heaviness due to love, loss, time, and being that it held comes back to you. My parents' marriage held so much of that not only did it all go back to them, but things that their relationship created as well. My house, books, songs, a photo, and me. So heaviness is a part of us, some more than others. Weight fills us and drains from us and spills from us and is changed with us. So if each human was hollow, weight would fill them like water. Once it reaches your eyes, it spills from you, crying, filling up to full capacity. This is a metaphor that makes sense to me because it's so easy to feel. You can feel your stomach tensing up, and just before you cry, you can feel it at your throat, almost choking you. But all the weight that came from my family that was now the weight of me, the weight of their marriage, the weight of years, and the weight of lost love, was so much at once that I didn't know how to drain it. It became solid, a part of me forever. I found myself constantly filled and constantly heavy. But capacity grows with people. A baby can cry every day because it's tiny and it barely has any capacity at all. An adult rarely cries because it's learned the size of its capacity. But 6 years later, after all that weight came to me, I've grown, and my capacity has grown with me. But now that I have space, I have room to fill and room to spill so easily. I taught myself that crying was wrong, so I blocked out what could fill me, so I never had to cry. But now, 6 years later, I find myself here in a place that values vulnerability and encouraged you to feel everything, and I was lost. I found myself not knowing how to be vulnerable anymore. I found myself making work about my family because it's the only thing that constantly made me want to cry. It was the only way for me to be vulnerable with myself. Most of my childhood, I was videotaped, not for any particular reason, just for the sake of having something, I think. I realized that the tapes were quite similar to the weight, specifically the weight of my family that didn't exist anymore. It's the only remainder of something lost, and we hold on to it not because we want to, but because it's all we have left. The first tape starts at engagement, and the tapes end around the time that my parents split, so it's a perfect timeline of the solid mass that I carry every day. So I made these. I melted each tape into a solid mass until they weren't anything but weight. I created the weight that I carry physically, which led me to realizing so many things. I learned that weight is beautiful because with it comes vulnerability. It's not something holding me back, it's something keeping me human. I learned that if I wanted my weight to be anything but a burden, I needed to learn how to let go. I had to let go of that emptiness, that lack of family, because that doesn't exist anymore. And even though it's all I had left of the love that I once felt, I needed to let go of that thing that didn't exist and that would never exist again. I needed to stop loving the emptiness of what wasn't there because it wouldn't be able to love me back. So my lack of love is what has been holding me back for the past few years. I didn't lack love because I was incapable, but because there was so much of me trying to love what could never give me anything back. I needed to stop making the idea of having a family so important because it was preventing me from having truly unconditional love for my parents and anything really. So this is me letting go of everything that is gone, because while it's important to miss things, it's even more important to feel what is really there. Every person needs love. It's what keeps us going. It's what lets us hold things. It's what keeps us from falling. Even if love leads to heartbreak, it's such a fundamental human characteristic that it might just be worth it. And of course, no one is going to find love from lost memories, and I don't necessarily find love from my work, but it leads me to things greater than itself. It leads me to parts of myself that I thought were lost and that I thought were gone forever. It leads me to parts of myself that helps me understand the world better. I've learned that my work isn't an end goal, but it's a stepping stone to a place that I need to be, a place of self-understanding. It's a way for me to turn loss into love. It's a way for me to live the best way possible, and a way for me to better love everyone and everything around me. So thank you to everyone who has helped me get here. Thank you for your love and support and for taking mine. And thank you to all of you for letting me share this with you. And all I can say from here is good night.